Hey everybody, I hope you're in the mood for some garbage because I'm going full crash out Carlos today, because we're diving back into the stupidity of the whole physical-digital thing. You remember Tpescodore?
Who the f is that guy?
Our boy has been busy. His employers got him crunching numbers to be able to show off just how little physical games matter and how you should just accept that PlayStation is killing physical games and releasing future consoles without disk drives. Because apparently that's what we all want. According to the market research, that's what we want, but whenever we ask for, cheaper prices for games, no live service slop, no garbage writing in our games, no shit characters, suddenly, nobody's around to listen to us.
I ask for no pickle and they give me the f***ing McPickle Pounder. What the f*** is this bullshit?
Ain't it funny how that goes? According to our boy, in 2026, only 7 games released on PlayStation have sold more than 100,000 physical copies this year in the United States. The majority of PlayStation sales this year in the US have been digital. And ladies and gentlemen, this, right here, was done for one reason and one reason only, to support their bullshit that they are pulling right now. Even the statement itself is useless. Most sales in the US have been digital for years. This was never relevant and certainly never needed to be said out loud, especially not with an analyst, except for now. And the reason why should have you concerned. But first, just so that we can all be on the same page, you have to see how bad this is and how deep this rabbit hole goes. And for that we're going to need a crash course to introduce Tpescodore, Circana, and other analytics companies out there. Plus what they actually do with some examples of their work. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's just step right in. Tpescodore is an industry analyst and a very highly regarded one. In fact, him and his brand, Circana, are considered the gold standard of the industry by games journalists and just about any official source that you can source. Now the funny thing about Tpescodore and his analysis is that he does it on behalf of the companies in the industry. See, he's not an analyst who has a platform built off of accurate analysis that are in and of themselves useful to the public, like for example how a YouTuber has a platform built off of what he does because people come and watch him, because of the entertainment that he provides. If we were to do a YouTuber analogy, it would be a YouTuber who gets paid by a studio to show you a video game, in which honesty is not always guaranteed. Instead, this is basically a market analysis, market research, consumer behavior, etc. type of company. And boy oh boy, we sure do know how useful market research has been for gaming over the past few goddamn years, haven't we? In case you couldn't detect that, it was sarcasm.
Oh no! Oh.
Because it's been a mess. An utter and complete mess filled with lies and fake data like this, for example, where in order to paint a picture that gaming is actually dominated equally by both men and women, they just cobble everything together. Never mind that most of the women represented in the graph are on mobile, which have nothing to do with the actual games industry. But game journalists don't care about that, they hide that part of the data. They just say, hey fellow game studios, you should actually change the identity of your franchises and skew them towards female demographics because there's just as many women as there are men playing the next Chad Chungus gun sword adventure. And it doesn't stop there either. Are you sick and tired of live service slop? Everybody is! We all know that we are all tired of this crap.
Welcome to Highguard.
We all know that there's way too many of them, which is actually the main problem, not the live service itself. If you make a good one, you'll get people playing it, but there's too many of them, and way too many of them are garbage that release either broken or unfinished. Whenever there's an E3 type of event, I mean, we haven't had E3 in a long time, but you get it, Summer Games Fest, Gamescom, the Game Awards, and they show a trailer of another live service slop game, the reaction from gamers always shows undoubtedly that people are sick of this crap. But the market research teams, on the other hand, just keep saying that no, there's a lot of interest in these games, clearly, because that's how these studios and these investors can justify continuing to chase this elusive dream of making the next Fortnite or GTA Online. So in other words, market research isn't actually market research. Market research tells Ubisoft that games like Expedition 33 don't sell, forcing their developers to leave the company and go make it on their own. What corporate market research really is confirmation bias. But please, let's move on. So Matt Piscatella gets paid by the industry for the data he provides, and if you've been locked in on this channel throughout 2025, you'll remember how we exposed analytics companies' cheeks over their big bullshit campaign trying to paint Assassin's Creed Shadows as this massive success, while simultaneously Ubisoft burned. One of them, not Circana in this case, but another one of these useless-ass branches of the industry, even went as far as to skew the numbers to the point of making it possible for games journalists to write articles like this one right here, stating that Shadows was the top seller of the year. This happened sometime during last summer, so about a year ago. Then, just a couple of months later in October, Circana does a quick roundup of Ghost of Tyoto to make it look like a big banger, and they reveal this top 20 sellers list for the whole of 2025, to show how Tyoto, which had just released, was already at number 18, making it a top 20 bestseller of 2025. But while they were busy glazing Tyoto, they forgot about their old boy Shadows, which was nowhere to be seen on that list. So in other words, earlier in the year, Circana crunches the numbers and Matt Piscatella comes out with a post like, here's a fun one, Shadows is looking to be a hit, bestseller, coming up right behind Monster Hunter Wilds. Your usual shills and soy boys like Mighty Queef, Synth Potato, Act Man, so on and so forth, rejoice because it means the chuds are getting owned. Then later in the summer, another analytics research company goes, hey yo, Shadows is actually the best-selling new game of 2025. Then we finally hit October, the focus shifts to glazing the new game that was being the center of the culture war, and oops! Assassin's Creed Shadows, the best-selling game of the year, is somehow nowhere to be seen on the list. Now you fellas may ask, but Dez, how does this happen, Dez? How is it that these companies say one thing on Monday and then totally contradict themselves months later? How is it that different analytics companies come up with radically different numbers and narratives if they are supposed to be measuring objective data in the market? There's only one market. There's only one data. What the fuck's going on? Well, boys, just think about it for yourselves a bit more on why that is. Think about why would there be a motivation for these analysis companies to tell their clients, aka the game companies, exactly what they want their investors to hear. Think about why is it that Ubisoft would want to hear that Shadows was doing really well back when they were pitching that deal of theirs with Tencent. Think about why it's so rare, if not entirely fucking non-existent, to ever hear these analytics bros going, wow, this game really flopped. Holy shit, man. I mean, the numbers for Dragon Age Soyguard are really looking rough. This is really grim for the company. And yeah, just think about it and come to your own conclusions, fellas. Anyway, as if that wasn't enough, besides Assassin's Creed Shadows' blunder, Matt Piscatella has also made his little posts about, ahoy, look at this game, it's doing real good, damn, that's hot. For other dog shit entries such as Veilguard, which flopped, Star Wars Outlaws, which... what's the word that he used? Man, Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, used a very funny line to describe it. This was it right here. Star Wars Outlaws initial sales proved to be softer than expected. You heard it here first on the Decembro show, fellas. Yves Guillemot likes them hard. Oh my god. I tried like 5 times already to say that without cracking up and I just can't. I'm moving on. Of course, Ghost of Tyoto was also in the glaze list, saying that the game did great because it was flat with Tsushima, meaning performing just as well as Tsushima was, which is just objectively not true either. Tsushima sold in like 3 days, what it took Tyoto a whole month to sell. But whatever, yo, that's not even important here today. We already went through all this and more last year. Bro is biased, even his language makes it blatant sometimes, like with Veilguard. Look at how much this dude was juggling words just to be able to put Veilguard in a good spot. Oh well, if Dragon Age Veilguard's PC volume was included, it would have placed higher on the best-selling titles chart, perhaps as high as 3rd overall, but unfortunately the digital volume was not available, the publisher didn't give us the data, man, rough, just too bad, but yeah, Veilguard, top 3 bestseller, probably around that, Let's see how that went, fellas.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing.
And in other occasions, the language is deliberately skewed to make something sound better than it is. For example, for Assassin's Creed Shadows, once again, Matty Boy made Shadows' performance sound amazing by saying that it was a bestseller, trailing just behind Monster Hunter Wilds. Now, if you'll recall, this is what was happening with Monster Hunter Wilds. It had over 1 million concurrent players at launch, and had sold like hotcakes. It was insane, it sold over like 10 million copies, it made me buy it, which I'm not even a Monster Hunter guy, and to be honest with you, I didn't even like it. But anyway, when you hear Shadows is trailing just behind that game at number 2, it's normal that you would assume Shadows is doing bombastically well. But it wasn't. This was Shadow's concurrent number. It was even lower than Veilguard's. It took them months to get 5 million players. And even then, it was players, including their subscription garbage, not full dollar sales. I even remember doing estimations based on number of played hours that Ubisoft released themselves. And it was terrible. The average playtime was 13 hours. Barely even enough to clear the first chapter. People were dropping out of this game like flies. This game was a damn flop, and this guy made it sound like the 2nd major dollar hit of the year. I think you guys get it by now. The thing is that this guy is made to be the glorious gold standard man.
I just think that, like, you can feel how you want it, but Circana data is the gold standard of data.
Who the f*** asked you? Last I checked, you can't even do your job correctly. Now you walking your ugly ass around the office making suggestions. Woo!
Oh, the soy squad glazes him like crazy. Colin Moriarty would personally pre-order a body pillow of Matt Piscatella to warm him up at night. But the truth is, something stinks in here. Objective data-driven analysis don't try to glaze games. Don't try to play favorites. Don't try to make excuses just to not address the fact that a game looks like it's getting roasted alive, like what happened with Veilguard, Shadows, Outlaws, so on and so forth. These analytics things are super sus because they look like they're just there to make their clients look good. As such, gold standard or not, they can be compromised because no company wants to subscribe to data dumps that make them and their business look like shit. It is what it is. That's why I don't trust them and always take what they put out with 10 grains of salt. Big ones. It's because they clearly have motivations beyond the data. If they didn't, they just dropped the numbers, not the narrative. And of course, they've also been egregiously wrong before. And so with that out of the way, let's have another look at the post because, believe it or not, I still have so much more I want to vent about. Again, as said earlier, we already know digital sales are higher than physical sales. In bulk, they will always be at this point because digital copies of old games are now discontinued in terms of physical production, so they are only being sold digitally. DLCs and expansions, which are also exclusively digital, are also being sold constantly, and digital releases don't even have physical options. But even in raw, individual game comparisons, it's also not a surprise that there are more copies sold digitally than physically, especially in America. None of this has ever been to the point of competition though. Like, I don't know what else to tell Piscatella's glazers and Sony's suckers. The two options aren't in competition with one another. They're just two options. And Sony is now trying to rip one of them away from their customers, which just so happens to be the one that also goes hand in hand with them monopolizing control over the market. And they're doing it all while pushing this narrative that it's for player choice because most players make digital purchases. Well, let's look at Marathon's numbers real quick. This is Steam's numbers. Sony doesn't like to share their own, but it's okay, because most players of Marathon are right here on Steam anyway. About 70% or so. Dez, why are you sounding so petty today? Fellas, this is a petty Dez video, okay? Let's continue. It would seem that according to these numbers, most players don't want live service garbage. Well, that must mean that Sony won't make more live services then, is that correct? Never mind. Man, I got that wrong. I'm sorry, fellas. Seems that they're going to anyway. Also, remember when we were all paying $60 for new games? And nobody from Sony asked us a damn thing about paying more for it, but somehow they still came to the conclusion that, well, clearly players want to pay more for their games, so we're going to kick our first-party exclusives up to $70 anyway. Did you ask for that? I don't remember asking for that. But let's do some more, I mean, why not? You know how Sony sold both digital versions of the console and disc versions of the console? The digital version was even $100 cheaper. Pretty good goddamn deal. But still, the disc version sold like hotcakes. It significantly outsold the digital console. Shouldn't that tell them that there's still a significant amount of people who still want physical games? It doesn't even have to be physical-only people. This is very important to understand here. This isn't about physical-only or digital-only. This is about consumers having access to both. The average user doesn't care about this little war on Twitter. The average user buys both in accordance with convenience. But again, none of this mattered to Sony. So why does some data get acknowledged as player preference while other data doesn't? Well, what's going on here? I thought it was about player preference, baby. What happened? It's almost as if player choice has never mattered to these people at all. Never mind that these numbers in and of themselves are already skewed to hide information in classic analytics boy behavior, where they don't tell you that, for example, most of the game releases don't even break 100,000 sales in just a few months. It's actually very normal for only big AAA releases like Resident Evil, Crimson Desert, 007 First Light, Black Flag Resynced, Saros, or big surprise indie hits like Silksong to fly off the shelves in a short span of time, because of course this is only about 2026, which is another way of skewing the damn data. That's all these cockroaches do. It's skew, skew, skew. Even with this rat-skewed data trying to present how much smaller the physical percentage is, it doesn't give it to you in raw sales numbers. For example, this is from the Insomniac Games leak, so it's a couple of years old, but it still serves as a prime example. Yes, digital has always been the dominant one. Amazing. The sky is blue, imagine that. But even at a low average of 20 to 30% of physical sales, that still translates to millions of units, and millions of units still translates to high dozens of millions of dollars. You really think these companies find that negligible? In this economy? For Ghost of Dyoto, as an example, as another most recent Sony exclusive, it got 3 million sales in about 31 days if I remember right. If we apply the same average, where we're talking about a third of the sales are physical, you're still rounding that to about 1 million. Crimson Desert got like 6 million sales. Applying the same standard to maybe around 3 million of those, because most were on the PC, where there's no discs, you're still talking about nearly 1 million sales. Same with Resident Evil 9, a bigger title for consoles, where easily over 2 million sales were in physical format. That's in the high dozens of millions of dollars. Some of them are in the hundreds of millions of dollars. The comparison still makes physical a less used avenue. Yes, totally, 100%. And yes, when companies put out a physical game, there's more costs. But that's also why games aren't cheap. That's also why we pay out the ass for a brand new video game, and the prices don't stop coming down. We're about to see a big increase to 80 because of GTA 6. And besides, I don't even want to use this avenue of argument. I don't even tolerate it, because digital games are not cheaper. They are the same price. These people haven't changed it. They know it's cheap, they know they make more money with them, but they they still sell it as high as the physical versions. And they can't even try to push a narrative of like, well, we have to because we need to make back the money somehow because of the physical sales, they're running us out of business. Well, you can't make that argument because you're just admitting right now as well that most of your sales are in digital. So you're actually raking in a bunch of money that you shouldn't be raking in based off a presupposition that doesn't even apply. So if the difference is irrelevant for publishers to change it, then it's irrelevant for them to whine about it too. Sorry, bitch. Cry me a river. And I'm really petty today, goddamn. But back to the point. Even while smaller, the physical market is still a multi-million-dollar deal. Also, his numbers were centered in North America, as if that's all that matters. As if there aren't markets that are way stronger in physical out there, like South America with Brazil and Asia with Japan, and even countries like mine where physical is still healthy enough that we have several game retailers, big major ones and smaller, more oriented, gamer-friendly stores that you can walk into and still see a bunch of merch, games, Warhammer shit, Magic the Gathering, lamps, figurines. Shit, I even bought this one recently. I'm not gonna lie, fellas. I was never able to buy these kinds of things before. Thanks to you guys, things have gotten better for me, and so I went ahead and I collected this motherfucker right here because the stock was going out. It's still in the box. I don't even know whether to take it out or not. I don't want it to get dusty. It's Kenshiro from Fist of the North Star, which I was introduced to through this game adaptation from the Yakuza devs, which is so good, dude. 100% recommend you guys try to get this. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, these companies suck. If what people like Matt Piscatella and the people who have his balls in their purse, such as the top shelfers at Sony and in these major publishers, etc., are saying is that we don't matter at all, that our purchases that still translate to dozens of millions of copies per year in total don't matter, then just say that instead of trying to bullshit me with this narrative that, oh nah, the players have made their choice, clearly, nobody's buying physical, so we're shutting it down. We're doing it for you, players. We're doing it for you. We always do things for you. We're always listening. We're just giving you what you want. Get the f*** out of here, boy. We are buying physical. In no conceivable universe would these executives who are struggling to sell video games, who are constantly crying and bitching about games underperforming, who have been desperately engaging in mass layoffs in the past 2 to 4 years, scores of developers out there in the sea, would ever pass up on a few extra million sales. In fact, they would sell their souls for it. So no, it's not that people have chosen to not buy physical, it's that they want to eliminate the physical option to force you to buy their $70 to $80 garbage with zero discounts, zero price drops, zero ownership, zero way to sell it off if you don't like it, zero way to borrow it to a buddy or a brother or a girlfriend directly from their f***ing stores where they have zero distribution costs but will still refuse to drop the prices. They want to give you no option, no quarter, no alternative. That's what they want, and that's just step one, because after that comes the removal of those licenses that you think that you have access to, so that they can sell you subscription services. Quote me on that. Bookmark the video. That's what they want. And I wish that they would just say it with their chest, instead of sending gold standard Matt Piscatella to whitewash their narrative and their actions for them. And now, I could end the video right here, but I have one last thing that I need to get out of my chest, boys. This chapter is especially for all the lobotomites out there defending the erasure of physical media, and the corpo boys. If this video ever flies into the stratosphere, I want you guys to listen to this, especially the closing message. Now, we all know that the digital format sells, if for nothing else than for the simple reason that people want the convenience of never getting up to change a damn disc. Some other people also make the argument that physical cases are clutter. My guy, these cases are so small that you can buy like a box at IKEA and put dozens of games neatly tied into one. Or you can throw the boxes away if you don't like them and buy one of those cases that have slots for discs. They look like books almost. One of those is able to hold upwards of 50 discs. They even used to come in custom, like you could customize them. I had one that held over 100 discs and I used them for DVDs because between me, my parents, and my bros, we had a bunch of movies, and yeah, fair enough, it burned away space. We didn't keep the cases, we put them in those little booklets. But also, this is the weirdest thing. You don't have to buy every game in physical format in order for physical format to exist. God knows I don't. I still have a lot of games that I got digitally, even on PlayStation, and I regardless still want to support the existence of physical media. At no point did this thing ever, hang in the balance, over your head going, if you buy digital games, we're going to take away the physical ones. This was never even a conversation, this was never even a concept. So you can't even say, oh, you supported it by buying digital, you supported it, yeah.
Shut your fucking mouth! Shut the up, you cunt!
Prepare yourselves, boys, because the exact same thing is going to happen with subscription services. They're going to come for your game licenses. Every single game you think you own because you bought it, that you have in your digital libraries, they're going to come for them and they're going to say that there's gazillions, guys, of people playing games through subscription models. Therefore, it is our choice collectively, meaning that even if you didn't participate in it, or even if you only bought it once or twice, that we don't want individual games to be purchasable. We don't want to own games. We don't want to buy directly from the publisher. No. We want to own nothing and be happy because you made the choice. Yeah. Remember that one time that you subscribed to the Game Pass to try out that crappy game? You supported this. That's what the fuck's going to happen. It's the exact same concept. All of these people defending this right now, saying these kinds of things, call them up later. When it happens, call them up. See what they're saying then about a decision that is being made for them under the consensus that everyone wants is, just because there happens to be an X amount of million of subscribers to some subscription service or two. Now I gotta say something else about physical media, because there's a special kind of moron out there who will call you a dumbass for wanting to buy games on disc. And this is something that doesn't get talked about enough, which is every new game is cheaper on physical. All the little morons will have to come in on my shit and say, yeah, you're a nostalgic Nimrod, you Luddite, welcome to the future, physical is a relic. All of you morons are paying more than I for a new game. And you f***ing sit there calling other people Nimrods and idiots for supporting physical? What are you, stupid? Look, since it's topical, it's news that just came out very recently. Let's go with GTA 6. We all saw that clown show, didn't we? $80 for the standard edition, no disc, just a code in the box, and $100 for the ultimate edition. Look here, look how much I would pay for it if I were to buy the game. $67. Even a code in the box, I'm paying $67, not 80. Toss in the ultimate upgrade on the PlayStation Store for another $20 and I would be looking at 87 instead of 100. Now it's only $13 cheaper, sure, it's a 15% off thing, and maybe for the more heavy-pocketed fellas out there, those $13 ain't anything. They are for me, but fair enough, some of you are better off and God bless. Regardless, the sale isn't specific to GTA, nor is it specific to even a basic campaign. It's just a standard in this retailer, which is one of the biggest ones in my country, and any Portuguese people right here in the comments will not allow me to lie to you. They'll confirm it. It's Vorten. You guys know what it is. It's a major retailer all across the country. Now here's Wolverine. It's not 80, it's 67. Here's the upcoming Tomb Raider. It ain't 70, it's still 60. Here's Dawnwalker. 61. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection. 42. Halo Remake. 51. So on, so forth. It's every single game, so saving those 15%, which by the way also apply to special editions and collector's editions across several games, saves me a bunch of money. And this is the major retailers, because then there's smaller retailers, which I also save a bunch of money on, which I detailed in this video, and a few others. I've talked about this a few times, and I've shown you guys examples where on the physical stores that I usually buy games at, they are a fraction of the price on the digital store on PlayStation. All these savings could be taken advantage of by these morons too, but no, they prefer to go online, on Twitter, and yap, defending the billion-dollar company like pathetic Sony ponies. Oh, and by the way, back to the GTA picture. You see those ones on the side there with the extra thingy in yellow in my language? That thingy means take 3, pay 2. That's another thing that you get with physical media. Worthwhile sales that these stores do, and that net you more value than the PlayStation Store does. You don't gotta pay for it either. See, the PlayStation Store has 2 types of sales: the regular sales, which suck dong, and then there's the bigger sales in yellow, because they are a benefit of you being subscribed to their PlayStation Plus subscription. So in other words, these dumbasses are paying Sony to get bigger discounts on their purchases. You don't have to be physical only to support the existence of physical media and to even take advantage of it. You gain nothing by it getting erased, but I keep seeing these lobotomites making this matter a you versus them type of scenario, as if they're going to get their games to be cheaper, and as if Sony will delete their user agreements if they go full digital. At least that's what I assume, because if not that, then why? What's the point of posts like this, for example? Dear physical only crowd, raise the white flag, it's over. What's the point of rowing against a market option that is available to and benefits everybody? In the best of faith, it only makes sense if these people think that they're going to gain something out of it. Either that or they're bots. Bot farms are getting really sophisticated these days. It's as if the erasure of physical media will bring about this amazing golden age where asshole companies that have been fleecing us for years will suddenly wake up on the right side of bed and give us fair treatment. Suddenly, the price of games will go down to a sensible amount, like $50. Suddenly, as if by magic, with the erasure of physical media, subscriptions to play online will disappear too, because hey, it's okay, you guys are buying from us directly now, so that means more money in our pocket, and of course we are, flipping the profits back to you, fellas. We've been best friends for so long. Your game libraries will also now be fully protected with no license expirations and a constant foolproof library of your games ready to be accessed and downloaded at any day, anytime, even if the servers are down, because as of right now, we are also ending the always online policy on the PS5, where for example you are forced to download the latest patch of a single player game in order to run it. Plus, of course, our 30-day DRM check, and naturally we're also going to be shutting down our policy where if you, for some reason, do not use your account for 3 years, we'll delete it and everything that you bought. Don't worry, fellas, suddenly as if by a miracle, all these horrid anti-gamer measures will go away. Ah, but Des, if you don't use your games for 3 years, who cares? It's because you're not playing them. Wrong. You are spitting the wrong rhetoric, fellas. You're being a corpo cock. You buy a thing, you should own the thing and access it no matter what. Regular subs may even remember that I just returned to PC this year after finally being able to afford a new one to make videos with and also play some games. I used to be on PC a very long time ago. I had a few games on Steam. Eventually, I was too broke and straight up just too young and dumb and inexperienced to upgrade my own PC, so I switched to PS4. I spent well over 3 years without using my Steam account, and yet, when I returned to Steam, all my games were there, just as it should be. I legitimately saw comments defending this from Sony, defending that hey, if you don't log in for 3 years, then fuck you and your purchases. I mean, why do you want them anyway? As if PlayStation can't provide the simplest, most minimal thing as having your stupid purchases not disappear from your account. Literally something that should be indefensible in every way, but gets defended anyway. And that's why I say that there's a bunch of bot farms pushing this idea. By the way, the Steam thing isn't even just Steam. I also used to have an Xbox 360 before I switched to PS4. Then later, I got an Xbox, the $300 one. When I logged into my account, my Xbox 360 offers that I used to have from buying Xbox Live Gold were still on my console. Dragon Age 2, Dante's Inferno, Bully, Scholarship Edition, Assassin's Creed, and I had a blast playing these games. But I wouldn't be able to on PlayStation because Sony, for some reason, just can't do the most basic solid of letting your account be. And so that's also why this whole sentiment that is now propping up online against owning physical media and against buying physical media is astroturfed. And I would bet that it's being pushed by these companies. And so again, one last time, I'm not saying that physical is the #1 engaged option in the games industry. I know that it's digital. But what I am saying is that this sentiment against it, these people arguing against their own self-interests, is fake. It's astroturfed. Physical media, regardless of the ownership situation, which is a whole other side deal, has been holding the balance for decades and impeding these publishers from colluding with these platforms to hike up prices further or find ways of monetizing concurrent play, which, mark my words, is coming. Technically, it's already here with subscriptions, but it's going to get worse. This is their dream, it's their goal, and that's why we are going to keep seeing pushes like these, where it's not just shills running interference for their billion-dollar corpo daddies or game journos flipping their narrative with the wind, or literal bot farms being used by these rich fucks to push false consensuses online, or analytics companies coming out with articles and sound bites like the one that we just got right now in this video. Their pressure will continue, and I frankly don't know what the outcome is going to be. All I know is that I'm not going to stop pressing back. I'm sick and tired of being pushed into a corner and forced to eat slop. Bad games, price hikes, more subscription services, more expensive hardware, restrictions on accounts, game ownership being converted into temporary game licensing, licenses of digital products being taken away from us, variable pricing that overcharges me if I'm a loyal user instead of giving me a discount, and so much more. And now on top of all that, I can't buy a goddamn physical copy of a game that I really like, and I want to have it up on a shelf, or I want to borrow a homie for him to enjoy too? What the f is happening to our culture in gaming? From one side, we're having it co-opted and invaded with politics. From another side, we have the same people sustaining that political invasion, that by the way is making the games worse, which is reducing the sales, further making the situation worse by letting their greed and hunger for control outgrow their own common sense and self-awareness, to the point where they don't even care about us as customers. They don't care about our experiences, they don't care about making their player base satisfied with their service so that they make more money and make more sales of consoles and shit, and instead they just keep pushing to erase more and more of what we had, trying to instill this thing that I don't even know the name for. Only that expression remains. It's that age-old "you will own nothing and be happy." So I'll just say this to finish up, man. The implication of all this is that we, the gamers, chose this. We took this direction and the companies followed. It's all cope. It's fake. Doesn't even apply. And so if the relationship here between the gamer and the game company is to always be this acidic, toxic, hostile back and forth that's been going on for about 6 years now, with this total disregard for actual preferences when they matter, and the skewing of data points so that they can pretend like there are preferences where there aren't any, then I'm not going to play their game. This is directly for them now, collectively from all of us. There is no shortage of amazing games out there. We don't need to touch your shit, even if we liked it. And even if you ever make something halfway decent as if by miracle, we can still sell the seas for your new shit while sticking to our backlogs of your old shit. We can still spend our money in the indie market, whose games are getting better and better as the years go by. This gap is closing too. You're losing ground here, sweetheart. We may lose physical media. This battle may very well be cooked when it comes to PlayStation. I don't know, but sure, it may be. But you're not winning this shit either. With the PS4 generation, you farmed goodwill for years by ushering in a generation of providing good service at fair prices. You destroyed all of it in these short few years, ushering instead a generation of resentment. You got less f***ing ground than you think. And that's it. And now to the rest of you watching this video here, to all the homies in chat, I'm out, take care, and keep on keeping on.